Well, George, do you know yet if you're captaining your first match at home, and if not, what's the condition of the full-time skipper?
Yeah, not sure if I will be. He's just heading off for a scan now, so hopefully that's all clear. He'll obviously be given right up until the toss tomorrow to prove that he's right to go. So hopefully that scan's clear, and there'll obviously be a little bit of pain, but if he's 100%, he'll play.
And because we weren't on time enough to see it actually happen live, did it look sort of severe at the time?
Not sure. I was running in the opposite direction, so not sure.
Was it soccer or fielding or?
Yeah, just a pretty regulation fielding warm-up drill. Yeah, I don't think there was much in it. I'm not even sure how it happened. Yeah.
Will you fly someone in as a specialist batsman because you haven't got one extra in the team, or will you go with just what you got?
Once again, I'm not entirely sure what they'll do there. I haven't been privy. No doubt the selectors will sort all that out, and Michael and Mickey will sort all that out. But I think hopefully that scan comes back clear, and best case scenario, Pup still plays.
Are you okay? Nasty one from Mitch in the nets there.
Yeah, it's not much fun facing Mitch. No, either of the Mitches in the nets. That's fine. That's just. It just gets the heart going a little bit facing those guys. The way I G myself up for it is that if you can get through those guys in the nets, and hopefully anything you face in the middle should be hopefully a little easier.
The Channel 9 guys have been fascinated with your wrist injury. Was it the same hand or same?
Yeah, it's just that top hand. It just jars every now and then if it gets it in the right spot. I actually think it's an injury that's helping my batting, so it can, as long as it doesn't get too painful, it can hang around for a little bit.
How can it help your batting?
It only hurts when I lose my top hand. So obviously top hand very important with the bat. So if I keep it strong and firm, then I seem to hit the ball a little bit cleaner.
And if Clark doesn't play, will you captain, or would it be David Warner?
I believe I will. I think I will. Yeah, but once again, I guess that all depends. That's up to the selectors to make that final decision.
You just mentioned Mitch Johnson before. Do you think that's sort of been one of the, less stated developments of the summer, the way he's come back really so strongly? You've seen that even in the past few one-dayers? I'm not privy to what he's been working on, what he's done differently. I've never enjoyed facing him in the nets, whether he's been performing internationally or not. But so I certainly think he's in a really good place mentally. Physically, he's obviously a bit of an animal, so it's great to see him bowling well. I thought he bowled really well in Brisbane the other day. It would have been nice to have a few more runs on the board for him so we can really unleash it, and hopefully that's the case tomorrow.
First game at home, a special occasion?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, really looking forward to it. And plenty on the line too. It'd be nice to salvage this series, escape with a 2-all, get it back to level pegging. There's a lot on the line. Not the way we would like it. It would have been nice to be down here playing for a victory, but for a series victory. But anyway.
Clark aside, do you know if there are any other changes forecast at this stage?
Not sure. I wouldn't imagine there'd be too many.
Considering the batting struggles the team's had in the past two matches, does it put more pressure on if you have to replace obviously Clark with probably Maxwell, who's sort of like a batting all-rounder?
I think if you're replacing Michael Clark with anyone, it's a step down, and that's no disrespect to whoever's going to replace him, or it needs to replace him, but. He's obviously an outstanding player. So whenever you're losing, one, the experience, two, the calibre of player, it's a challenge, which hopefully guys step up into, and that's what we're hoping. That's what we've lacked in the last couple of games, is someone stepping up to, as an individual, even in a batting partnership, to fill the gaps that Mike Hussey leaving, Ricky Ponting leaving that side has created. But with that comes huge opportunity, and that's the word that we keep using, and that is still there. And I think if the group individuals within the group can stand up, particularly at the top of the order, and just settle the change rooms down, get a good partnership going, and I think you can see, we saw in Melbourne how well the guys can bat.
And on Kulaseka's last visit here, he was pretty ineffective in the test, but what has it been about him in the past couple of games that's made him so effective with the white ball?
I think he's been very accurate, and he swung the ball nicely, and that's there's an art to that in itself. In when the ball is swinging, to still have the control to land it exactly where you want, and there's no doubt that he's bowling very, very well and putting the ball almost exactly where he wants it more times than not. So he's the challenge for us is to combat that, and whether that's doing something different as a batsman or being a little sharper with your feet, putting him off his game, whatever it might be, hoping he has a bit more of an off day. But there's no doubt that he's at the top of his game at the moment.
Carl, high scoring ODIs down here last summer. Have you had a look at the pitch and what can you tell us about it?
Haven't had a look at it, but generally this year it's been a little slower, I think, than what it has played in previous years. So not sure whether it will be some of the big chases that we did see last summer. But having said that, I think generally here the one-day wickets are pretty good. So I'll probably pop out and have a look after this and see what it's like. But I think that the outfield's popped up really well from being relayed earlier this year, so that's looking really good and fast. So I'm expecting a reasonably high-scoring game.
Considering the way the team went with your first match in charge in Melbourne at the start of the series, can you sort of fathom that you're here needing to get a win to salvage a series draw?
Well, I think for me, that's the challenge of international cricket, and that's been probably the biggest step up I've found, and I'm sure other guys find it the same, is that that intensity of a series and knowing that you play, you have a day off, you play, you travel, it's non-stop, and the change from domestically is, you might play a good side twice a year, and once here and once somewhere else. Whereas you're coming up against world-class players day in, day out here, and that challenge doesn't go away. And particularly someone like Sri Lanka, who have such a great one-day record, I don't think we were expecting anything other than what they've produced. Unfortunately, we haven't quite played the cricket that we'd like to be playing as consistently as we'd like, but the one positive is that we know we can bat as well as we did in Melbourne. The challenge is to get back there and to do it more often.
So the day before, Sydney crowd was excited. Then I think for tomorrow's match, high expectation would be more pressure for you.
For the team?
Yeah.
Well, my thinking on that is that I think when you play for the Australian cricket team, there's always expectation. The expectation is that we will be the best team in the world, and that's, if we're not there, then that's what we're working to be. So as soon as you come into the team, there's expectation, and there's expectation that we're going to be very, very hard to beat when we play series in Australia as well. So the challenge is certainly there, and Sri Lanka have played some really good cricket. Whether we're blooding some new players or not, I don't think that changes, and players know that. Balancing off the expectation, as I said, is the opportunity to make sure you come in and grab the chance you get with both hands, nail down a spot, and let everyone know that that you can play the game.
After the poor press we got regarding the crowd during the test, do you expect a few people to come out tomorrow?
Certainly hope so. Yeah, I mean, there's been some good cricket played. It hasn't been our best cricket, but I think there's still been some intriguing battles going on. So I haven't seen the weather forecast. That seems to play a little bit of a part here in terms of crowds. But if the weather is good, I'd like to think that Tasmanians will come out and deck the place out, because there's a lot of places around the country that really do enjoy their cricket, and there's no doubt that seeing it live is something special. You mentioned that Sydney crowd the other night. They were having a great time. It was like the world's biggest outdoor disco there for a little while. So hopefully the cricket can reflect that as well.
Plenty of talk, as there always is, about the performance of the top order. Are you feeling the pressure personally, I suppose, in that top four, trying to improve what so far has been, apart from the first match, a disappointing series for the batsmen?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think there is always pressure, and I don't think I'll ever feel comfortable in the Australian cricket team as I've scored enough runs. I've earned my place here. I feel really comfortable here. So it's something that I feel like it doesn't really change game to game. So that is always there. Absolutely, I think, as I said, the expectation is that we should be winning this series, and we should be pushing for the number one spot in the world as a team. So the challenge is for the top four, whether you played one game, 100 games, whatever it might be, is to be performing. And particularly with the two new balls, the challenge for us is to make sure that we do weather those the new ball. If it is swinging and seaming a little bit early, if it does happen to be a good batting wicket, then hopefully you make the most of that as well. But the challenge is for the top four to make sure we're doing the bulk of the run scoring and batting the majority of the time, and that's our role. Once again, whether it's your first or 100th game.
George, there's a perceived weakness in Australian batting against the swinging ball. Do you buy into that at all?
I think it's a challenge. I think facing good spins a challenge. I think that's cricket in a nutshell. I think always, the swinging ball is what bowlers try and produce because that's the hardest ball to play as a batsman. So I think that's always going to be the type of bowling that will challenge batters. Absolutely.